We are proud that more than 100 aviation department family and employees and volunteering to be part of and participate in tomorrow's Fiesta Bowl parade in Central Phoenix. We're excited to be here and to see the teams move on in the brackets, and the Phoenix Sky Harbor staff, along with our concessionaires, our airline partners, are ready to welcome the teams and the thousands of visitors to the Valley for the game. Thank you.
Our next guest has done great work for the city of Phoenix to lift its profile on an international level. He's brought big issues, big sports events to the Valley since moving into his role as the president and CEO of Visit Phoenix. Ron Price has seen how tourism and sports interconnect for decades and in multiple cities. But I know that he knows how much better Phoenix is than any other market across the country. Please welcome Ron Price.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Judy, you were at the game last night.
Yeah.
I was on my couch last night. I want to talk about the game here today. I cannot believe the turnout that happened. And so very excited that we're going to have these two teams with us. Mike, you're right. We do these big events better than anyone else. So we're very fortunate to be a destination where these big events take place. I think we do it very well. And the fact that we get to be a semifinal game this year is going to be very special. Especially when you look at the teams that we have coming in. These are teams that travel. These are teams that the fans are going to be here because their teams are going to be making it to the national championship. So we're looking forward to a great turnout. I want to just say what a great job the Fiesta Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl Foundation has done. They're going to be rolling out the red carpet here. But it's more than that. It's the fact that they're in the community, they're raising funds to build a better community, and for all of us, the citizens here, we can't thank you enough. So let's all give a big round of applause for the Fiesta Bowl and all the Yellow Jackets here. So with that, we look forward to rolling out the red carpet, getting these teams here. It's going to be a fun week. These visitors aren't just coming here for the game, but they're going to be coming here and experiencing the destination. So we look forward to welcome them here. So with that, thank you all.
Thanks, Ron. Our next speaker is someone I love to have on my show. He's one of my favorite guests, and it's because of his passion for college football, but also passion for making the community a better place. Since taking over as executive director and CEO of the organization, he's taken it to new heights, new football initiatives, record levels of giving in Arizona with Arizona's teachers through the Wishes for Teachers. He's led a brand of evolution at the Fiesta Sports Foundation to show all the organization does on, but especially off the field. It's my honor to introduce Eric Moses.
So we've been waiting for almost 4 weeks for these teams to emerge. And emerge they did. There were some great games yesterday. Judy got to see the folks down at the Sugar Bowl and still was able to get back here on time, which is quite a feat. And I was down at the Cotton Bowl seeing Miami surprise most of the college football world and advance to the Verbal Fiesta Bowl. Not all of it. Mike wasn't surprised at all. Look, the road to the national championship runs through the Valley, and we're excited about that, to be able to host another semifinal here where the winner will advance to a national championship. You know, the economic impact that this game and the surrounding activities provide to the Valley is about $200 million, which is really significant for our hotel partners. Yeah, that's worth clapping for. Our hotel partners, our hospitality partners, obviously the airport and other businesses here locally. That's why these events are so important. But more importantly, as Mike alluded to, the Fiesta Sports Foundation really is about giving back to communities all throughout the state of Arizona. And every ticket that is purchased, every sponsorship, every donation that comes into our organization really helps to give back to this community and to support this community. And that's at the heart of what we do. As you can see from the yellow jackets and the red jackets around here, people are giving, as I like to say, their time, talent, and treasure to this organization to help support this state. And so we're so excited that everybody could be here to help us today. Phoenix Sky Harbor is the best place to announce these teams that are coming in here. And I want to thank the airport, the City of Phoenix, and Visit Phoenix for helping us to announce this today. I'm not going to belabor this because we want to get excited about the teams that are going to be coming in here. They're fans that are going to be pouring into the Valley and spending their money here in the Valley and enjoying our fantastic weather, which I can assure you is better than most of the places where these folks will be coming from. So I think we're going to get ready to announce and to slap the brackets on there so we can see who's there. If you have not bought tickets, hurry up. because they're going fast. This is going to be a fantastic game. Thank you all for being here. And without further ado, let's get some names on the bracket here. All right, and they're going to be facing from the SEC.
It's official, Phoenix is on the clock, 226 days until tip-off.
Today was the official kickoff of the countdown clock at Sky Harbor Airport, marking 226 days until tip-off for the 2026 Women's Final Four.
This is the first time we've ever hosted the Women's Final Four. We're really looking forward to April, where we will welcome fans from all over the world to see the best in women's college basketball.
It is going to be an amazing party and campus in downtown Phoenix. What's really interesting about this event is all of the extra events are free. So it's family friendly. It'll be throughout the weekend. It's a holiday weekend with Easter. And so we'll be able to see families from around the state and around the city come down and enjoy the Women's Final Four.
We have 4 Division I programs here in Arizona, so this community is more than ready to embrace the Women's Final Four when it takes center stage. It's going to be the best setting for the Women's Final Four. For young fans, for players, for coaches, for families, they get to create lifelong memories on one of the biggest stages in sports.
Really, there's nothing like the excitement of March Madness. Women's basketball is on the rise. As someone who played basketball, I too was one of those that envisioned it being at the pedestal that it is today. Yes, they drive tourism. Yes, they drive economic development. But they really give us, our state, our city, an opportunity on the national and global scale to have exposure.
The NCAA has been wonderful about partnering with our Parks Department.
They did renovations and projects such as East Lake Park, got to see new basketball courts and redesign of their facilities. And I'm just excited to see how it all comes to fruition in 226 days.
Phoenix is a basketball town. We are also Championship Valley. We have welcomed the NCAA, Super Bowls, great soccer. This is the place to host championship events.
There is no greater place than Phoenix in April because the weather is amazing and we are coming off of spring training, so just get ready to have amazing weather, good sports, and good food out in Phoenix.
So for the next 226 days, this clock will not only serve as a reminder of the Women's Final Four for the millions of travelers that come through beautiful Sky Harbor Airport, it's also a point of pride for all of us here in the community.
You'll see that we are excited about the NCAA Final Four. The women are going to be really proud of the event we put on.
Checkmate.
Good info is a good thing. The Broadway Curve project is in the works. Prepare for lane closures and detours. Stay ahead of the curve at i10broadwaycurve.com.
Happy New Year, good morning. My name is Mike Broomhead. I work over at KTAR 92.3 FM. I am so excited to be here on behalf of the Fiesta Sports Foundation. The Fiesta Bowl means a lot to this community, on the field, but most importantly, off the field. This game is so important to this community, and in just a couple of days, this entire week, thousands and thousands and thousands of people will be coming through this terminal to visit our city, to visit our community, and we are putting on such a great game and event that is going to be watched around the country, maybe even around the world. In just a few moments, right behind me, we are going to be putting up the two teams that are going to play in the Verbo Fiesta Bowl for a chance to play in the national championship game. So it is, fair enough. It is my honor to introduce the chair of the Fiesta Sports Foundation Board of Directors, a passionate supporter of college football and the community impact. Please welcome Judy Burness.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Mike. It is so exciting to be here today. What a great day. Just last night, I was in New Orleans watching an incredible game to see who's going to come to play in our game, and what a game it was. So just think about the experience that we're going to have here. So we're so excited to have that experience here. We're so excited to welcome you all here. This is an organization that is a crown jewel of this community, the Fiesta Bowl. You all know it. We've been there many, many years. We love it. And we are going to see a great matchup this year. So I get to fly in and out of this airport a lot. But how much fun it was to walk off the plane this morning. I landed less than an hour ago. But to walk off the plane this morning and see the makeover with all of the Fiesta Sports Foundation memorabilia, the trophy, all of our yellow jackets. This is an incredible experience, and we are so excited to welcome everybody here today. In just a few days, actually probably today, fans are starting to pour into this airport and this community to celebrate this amazing game and to see who is going to be the winner and move on to the national championship. We're part of the CFP 12-team playoff, so whoever wins our game goes on to the championship. So that's the caliber that we have here. And when those teams take the field, it will put a huge spotlight on Arizona, a huge spotlight like the size of our trophy over there that you can all see. So we're excited to have you all here, and on behalf of the board of directors, the Yellow Jackets, our ambassadors, our volunteers, I have one thing to say. Let's go!
The next speaker started to work for the city of Phoenix in 2003, the same year when the Fiesta Bowl gave all of college football arguably the greatest game in history and most controversial, coming from Miami Hurricane, in the history of the game, Miami versus Ohio State. As Phoenix's first ever major events administrator from 2015 to 2022, she led the events like the CFP National Championship, Final Four, Super Bowls. As Assistant Aviation Director, Chief Revenue Officer, she leads the Phoenix Airport System Revenue Strategy. Please welcome Roxanne Favors.
Good morning, thank you. Thank you, Judy and Mike. And I want to thank all of our colleagues at the Fiesta Bowl and Visit Phoenix that are here today. We're excited to be here today and to have a fantastic activation at Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport. It's amazing to see it come in and go up, especially that giant iconic trophy over there. I want to thank all the team members from the Fiesta Bowl and their aviation department that truly use their muscles to get that into this building for the thousands of college football fans visiting the Valley to come and enjoy it. We love to see these kind of fun and surprising activations here at the airport for our passengers and our employees, especially when the activation involves a hallmark Arizona event like the Fiesta Bowl. Welcoming crowds from major sporting events is in our DNA here at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. The games and the related activities bring excited fans into town and are great for the airport, our airline and concession partners, and the economy of Phoenix, the Valley, and the whole state of Arizona. The Fiesta Bowl helped started that trend more than 50 years ago, and the game and the events surrounding it are always a highlight. We are proud that more than 100 aviation department family and employees and volunteering to be part of and participate in tomorrow's Fiesta Bowl parade in Central Phoenix. We're excited to be here and to see the teams move on in the brackets, and the Phoenix Sky Harbor staff, along with our concessionaires, our airline partners, are ready to welcome the teams and the thousands of visitors to the Valley for the game. Thank you.
Our next guest has done great work for the city of Phoenix to lift its profile on an international level. He's brought big issues, big sports events to the Valley since moving into his role as the president and CEO of Visit Phoenix. Ron Price has seen how tourism and sports interconnect for decades and in multiple cities. But I know that he knows how much better Phoenix is than any other market across the country. Please welcome Ron Price.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Judy, you were at the game last night.
Yeah.
I was on my couch last night. I want to talk about the game here today. I cannot believe the turnout that happened. And so very excited that we're going to have these two teams with us. Mike, you're right. We do these big events better than anyone else. So we're very fortunate to be a destination where these big events take place. I think we do it very well. And the fact that we get to be a semifinal game this year is going to be very special. Especially when you look at the teams that we have coming in. These are teams that travel. These are teams that the fans are going to be here because their teams are going to be making it to the national championship. So we're looking forward to a great turnout. I want to just say what a great job the Fiesta Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl Foundation has done. They're going to be rolling out the red carpet here. But it's more than that. It's the fact that they're in the community, they're raising funds to build a better community, and for all of us, the citizens here, we can't thank you enough. So let's all give a big round of applause for the Fiesta Bowl and all the Yellow Jackets here. So with that, we look forward to rolling out the red carpet, getting these teams here. It's going to be a fun week. These visitors aren't just coming here for the game, but they're going to be coming here and experiencing the destination. So we look forward to welcome them here. So with that, thank you all.
Our next speaker is someone I love to have on my show. He's one of my favorite guests, and it's because of his passion for college football, but also passion for making the community a better place. Since taking over as executive director and CEO of the organization, he's taken it to new heights, new football initiatives, record levels of giving in Arizona with Arizona's teachers through the Wishes for Teachers. He's led a brand of evolution at the Fiesta Sports Foundation to show all the organization does on, but especially off the field. It's my honor to introduce Eric Moses.
So we've been waiting for almost 4 weeks for these teams to emerge. And emerge they did. There were some great games yesterday. Judy got to see the folks down at the Sugar Bowl and still was able to get back here on time, which is quite a feat. And I was down at the Cotton Bowl seeing Miami surprise most of the college football world and advance to the Verbo Fiesta Bowl. Not all of it. Mike wasn't surprised at all. Look, the road to the national championship runs through the Valley, and we're excited about that, to be able to host another semifinal here where the winner will advance to a national championship. You know, the economic impact that this game and the surrounding activities provide to the Valley is about $200 million, which is really significant for our hotel partners. Yeah, that's worth clapping for. Our hotel partners, our hospitality partners, obviously the airport and other businesses here locally. That's why these events are so important. But more importantly, as Mike alluded to, the Fiesta Sports Foundation really is about giving back to communities all throughout the state of Arizona. And every ticket that is purchased, every sponsorship, every donation that comes into our organization really helps to give back to this community and to support this community. And that's at the heart of what we do. As you can see from the yellow jackets and the red jackets around here, people are giving, as I like to say, their time, talent, and treasure to this organization to help support this state. And so we're so excited that everybody could be here to help us today. Phoenix Sky Harbor is the best place to announce these teams that are coming in here. And I want to thank the airport, the City of Phoenix, and Visit Phoenix for helping us to announce this today. I'm not going to belabor this because we want to get excited about the teams that are going to be coming in here. They're fans that are going to be pouring into the Valley and spending their money here in the Valley and enjoying our fantastic weather, which I can assure you is better than most of the places where these folks will be coming from. So I think we're going to get ready to announce and to slap the brackets on there so we can see who's there. If you have not bought tickets, hurry up, because they're going fast. This is going to be a fantastic game. Thank you all for being here. And without further ado, let's get some names on the bracket here.
It's all about the youth.
All right, and they're going to be facing from the SEC.
Bienvenidos a Phoenix en un minuto, más o menos. Estamos aquí frente a la escuela primaria Booker T. Washington, construida en 1928. La escuela está ubicada en 1201 East Jefferson Street. Esta es la primera escuela primaria para afroamericanos en Phoenix, un edificio de 2 pisos construido por $100,000 o casi $2 millones en la economía actual. Con una capacidad para 450 estudiantes, no solo sería un lugar de aprendizaje, sino también un punto de reunión para la comunidad afroamericana que veía la escuela como un símbolo de orgullo. La escuela cerraría en 1984 y el espacio sería reutilizado como oficinas para New Times y V Digital Service. El edificio sería añadido al registro de propiedades históricas de Phoenix en junio del 2005. Welcome to Phoenix in about a minute. Today we visit an amazing site in North Phoenix, the Deer Valley Petroglyph Preserve, a quarter-mile-long nature walk featuring petroglyphs and natural desert plants. The preserve has an incredible museum and gallery with exhibits like the Southwest Ceramics, Manos en Metates, the Agave, the Hedgepath Hills Historical Exhibit, and the Roosevelt Platform Mound Study. But the main attraction will always be the petroglyphs and the basalt boulders, more than 1,500 symbols full of history and storytelling from the indigenous cultures that lived here before us. So don't miss this amazing opportunity and visit this historical site right in your backyard.
Up until 1889, the majority of the water that was used by Phoenicians came from the actual original canal that went through town. In 1889, a man named John Gardner started the first city waterworks, which is where we're standing today. Water was delivered to this very spot at Verde Park by a redwood tunnel that extended for 30 miles to the east and the northeast. Part of the city waterworks in 1938 was this pump house. It was built with the intention of being an emergency pump house. Water has always been an important element of thriving in the Valley of the Sun. This pump house represents one of the few remaining structures that show how that water was transported in the early 20th century. And it's a wonderful piece of architecture here in the southwest corner of the Garfield Historic District that we can all continue to enjoy here at Verde Park.
Welcome to the Cesar Chavez Community Center, the City of Phoenix's newest recreation center here in the beautiful Levine Village. Come, I'll take you around. Over here, you will see the Cesar Chavez timeline. It's a great piece of work. As soon as you walk into the facility, you can see all the impact that Cesar Chavez has had in Arizona, and it's for you guys to see when you guys arrive. This here is our lovely gymnasium. It has basketball capacity, volleyball, pickleball. We have wonderful courts that are meant for youth and adult spaces. And this is also included in your membership when you register at phoenix.gov or at our front desk. Welcome to our multi-purpose room. This room is designed to have special events, meetings, take classes. It seats anywhere between 80 to 100 people and is reservable. This is our beautiful courtyard, along with lawn games where families can come and enjoy the beautiful Arizona weather. This space is also available to reserve for special occasions and special gatherings. And this is our beautiful teaching style kitchen that we have here at the Cesar Chavez Community Center. It is designed to teach classes here in our community. So if you're interested in cooking 101 or maybe baking, this might be a good class for you to come and take. We have stoves, refrigerators, microwaves, and I know this will be a great place for you to come and enjoy and learn to cook. And this is our wonderful game room space where it's designed for youth and adults to come hang out and engage in a friendly game of pool table, hockey, or foosball. This is also a great space for parents to come hang out while their children are taking classes here at our lovely community center. This is one of the amenities that is included in your membership here at the Cesar Chavez Community Center. And this is our beautiful upstairs fitness center that is designed with cardio machines, free weights, weight machines, and if fitness is one of your goals, this might be a place for you. Out here, we have this beautiful view of the Estrella Mountains, where while you're working out, you can have a great view here. This also has an outdoor space that is designed to take a class, maybe like an outdoor yoga or meditation class. Also a reservable space, so if you have a meeting and you'd like to enjoy the beautiful weather here in Laveen, this might be the spot for you. And this is our wonderful indoor walking track. So if you don't want to be outside, you want to get out of the sun for a little bit, you can come in here and take some laps. It is used to walk or run, and keep in mind 14 laps is 1 mile. To the side you will see all of our Laveen historic photos. These photos date back to the 50s, and you will see some of the lovely traditions that still happen here in the Laveen village, such as the barbecue parade and the Laveen parade.
In the city of Phoenix, there are over 60 high schools. Today, we are in the very first one, Phoenix Union High School. We're in the auditorium building on campus facing Van Buren, right near 7th Street. The high school opened in 1897 in a home, a huge mansion actually, that was built by the then Territorial Attorney General, a guy by the name of Clark Churchill. At its peak, Phoenix Union High School was the largest high school west of the Mississippi, with over 6,500 students on a campus that spread out for 18 acres, 4 city blocks, and had 9 different buildings. Notable people who have graduated from here include Barry Goldwater and Steve Allen, the comedian. Over the years, not only did it serve educational purposes, but this was the center of Phoenix entertainment, civic events, meetings, conferences, etc. Now, the Phoenix Union High School District sprung from this school. Even though it no longer serves the purpose of educating our high school students, many Phoenicians who attended here over the years still love to say the motto, "Fight on, Coyotes."
Bienvenidos a Phoenix en un minuto, más o menos. Estamos aquí frente al edificio de Phoenix Union High School, construido en 1912, localizados en 512 East Van Buren Street. Los 3 edificios principales fueron diseñados con un hermoso estilo neoclásico por Norman Marsh. El edificio de artes y ciencias domésticas, el
Okay. Good morning and welcome to the February 18th Transportation Infrastructure and Planning Subcommittee meeting. I will call the meeting to order and we will ask our city attorney to explain public comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the public may speak for up to 2 minutes to comment on agenda items to be discussed. Comments must be related to the agenda item and the action being considered by the subcommittee. General comments that go beyond the scope of the agenda item must be made in the call to the public session at the end of the agenda. The City Council and staff cannot discuss or comment on matters related to pending investigations, claims, or litigation. Additionally, any members of the public who appear before the subcommittee in their capacity as a lobbyist must, as required by the Phoenix City Code, disclose this fact before addressing the subcommittee. The City Code requires speakers to present their comments in a respectful and courteous manner. Profane language, threats, or personal attacks on members of the public, council members, or staff are not allowed. Speakers should not act in a disrespectful manner that is openly hostile to others. A person who violates these rules may lose their opportunity to continue to speak.
Thank you. And next we'll turn to Elsie to explain the role of the interpreter.
Thank you, Madam Chair O'Brien. Madam Chair Stark. My name is Elsie Duarte, and I will be providing Spanish interpretation during today's Transportation, Infrastructure, and Planning Subcommittee session. I will now take a moment to address our Spanish-speaking audience. Buenos días, mi nombre es Elsie Duarte. Estaré brindándole interpretación a nuestra audiencia de habla hispana durante esta sesión del Subcomité de Transporte, Infraestructura y Planificación. Para escuchar la reunión en español presencialmente, favor de pasar por unos audífonos ubicados a la entrada de la sala de cámaras. Las personas registradas para hacer un comentario público sepan que podrán hablar libremente sin interrupciones durante el tiempo disponible. Sus comentarios serán interpretados al momento que usted termine de hablar. Gracias. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Next, we move to our agenda items. The first is item 1, approval of minutes. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve the December 17, 2026 TIP meeting minutes.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. There's no nays. The ayes have it. Thank you. We have 2 consent items today. First, the approval of the Historic Preservation Exterior Rehab Grants and Aviation Financial Advisory Services. Do I have any questions or can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. No nays. Ayes carried. We have several speakers here for one of our information items. Before that, does anyone else have any questions on the info? Okay, then I will turn to item 5 and maybe ask Parks to come up. And this is just information to get us prepared as we go through the budget process, and we're at the beginning of our budget process. So I'm going to have you guys just briefly give us an update on where we're at with your capital improvement program.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee. It's thrilled to be here this morning. Yes, annually at this time of the year, we do submit our 5-year capital improvement program to the TIP subcommittee. The program circles around replacing aging infrastructure, addressing safety concerns, adding playgrounds and new amenities around our system. So it's about a 5-year, $321 million program.
Thank you. Well, now turn to the speakers. Jerry Van Gass. Welcome.
Morning, Jerry Van Gass. It was 9 years ago, 2017, right in front of this subcommittee, that we reached an agreement to pay back $17 million that was wrongfully taken to pay off golf course debt. At that time, we had our attorneys stipulate that we would, in addition to the money being paid off, receive monthly balance sheet statements on the 3PI fund account. I'm looking at your capital improvement project 5-year timeline here, and it shows from the fund, one account, 1022, almost $32 million being spent next year. And yet our balance statement that we just got a week ago shows that same fund has only $11 million. I don't know how you reconcile being able to do projects in that amount of $32 million when you only have $11 million in the account. And there's not that much coming in. There's more coming in now than ever, but it's never going to be enough to fill that need. So please consider that.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Stephen Brittle.
Good morning, Stephen Brittle here. So this makes me think of something that is playing out on the national stage when we have a bunch of people who were informed of something that was being done wrong and knew and did not take action. I've been working with people who've been bringing information to you over a long period of time about missing money, irregularities. Mr. Van Gass's point was another one of example of that. And yet no one in a responsibility position has taken appropriate action to investigate or to explain or even produce the public records. And just like what will play out on the national level, everyone will be held accountable when the truth comes out. As a City of Phoenix person who pays taxes, I really don't care to find out that money that the city has is mismanaged to the tune of millions and millions of dollars. And at some point, the public will find out, and they're not going to be very happy. And I think you need to take a hard look at the inaction of this body. You've not followed what the law says that you're supposed to do. The actual the law that was passed by the voters has specific things, including a real audit that has never occurred. Like I said, there'll be some kind of reckoning at some point when everybody finds out what happened. And I think there might be some criminal activity here, but we'll leave that up to the Attorney General or the FBI. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Jeremy Thacker.
Good morning. I want to focus on how the parks CPI structure affects the integrity of the 3PI funds. The city began this when we started with parks capital improvements was for the expansion. And what has happened over time is the 3PI funds have turned into a slush fund. We've seen the operating budget of parks remain well below the growth of the city's budget, while the 3PI budget has exponentially grown. This was all based on a legal opinion by attorneys who are no longer with the city, which we've had reviewed, a formal legal opinion reviewed, that legal opinion is invalid for a multitude of reasons. The amount of money that we're talking about is in the over $100 million now that has been mismanaged, misallocated, without any accountability. The oversight committee that was put in place to protect the citizens and how their money was being spent for this project specifically has, they manage roughly a $50 million annual budget. They're to review all expenditures. The average meeting, they meet once a year, is 52 minutes. That's $1 million a minute in oversight. That's it. We've got a problem, and it's a big problem. And they don't provide full records. They're doing accounting with no beginning balances, no end balances, showing expenditures. There's no transaction level detail. The categories of projects, they're categories, not actual projects. They're citywide for years on end. We'd like some accountability and some transparency.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Tim Sierakowski.
Good morning. Thank you so much for your time, Tim Sierkowski. We've been doing and saying this for the last number of years, and it doesn't seem to be doing anything. It seems to be falling on deaf ears. So once again, what I would like from this group is to make these individuals produce the supposedly two different checking accounts that 3PI money is located. I would like, and I have done record requests for this for the last 6 years, and they've never produced any of this information. I would like to see the two accounts. I want to see the money coming in and out. I'll make my own determination of what's going on with the accounts, and I'll have a forensic auditor look at this money and ask exactly what's going on. We want to know where the money is going at the present time. We don't want it misappropriated because you guys have no clue how to really manage anything. That's not my problem. The problem is you work for the people of the city of Phoenix, and this money is supposed to be, 3PI, is to supplant, not to run the Parks Department. Where's the general fund money in your 5-year budget? I don't see any money coming in from the city of, I don't see anything from general funds for all this improvement. Where's this money? According to your city charter, you're supposed to be giving the city parks a percentile ratio of the amount of money you collect yearly. And it doesn't seem to be adding up going into the Parks Department. So where's that money going? Your retirement fund that you're underfunded? So once again, I'm asking you to take some steps. I want to see both accounts. I want to see money coming in and out. I want to see it all. And I'll have my own forensic accountant look at it. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all the speakers we have. Are there any questions from the subcommittee? All right, we'll move on then. Item 10 is the Parks and Recreation Master Plan update. And Martin Whitbill, welcome. This will be your first presentation, I believe, at the subcommittee as our new director.
Well, Madam Chair, thank you for that. Congratulations. And again, I'm happy to be here with you and the rest of the members of the subcommittee. I'm extremely happy about this update today that we're going to provide you. The last Parks and Recreation system-wide master plan was completed in 1988. I know the Vice Mayor knows this joke, but I was a junior in high school when that happened, so we're excited to get this going. We started the current master plan in September of 2024, and for the better part of the last 18 months, we've been reaching out to the community to get feedback from them on what they like, what they don't like. So joining me at the table today is Mike Svets from Pros Consulting. He and a team of consultants have been helping us with the master plan. So we have some slides to go through this morning for an update on our community engagement piece. So I'll turn it over to Mike.
Great, thank you. Thank you. Turn that on. Good morning, Madam Chair, subcommittee, council members. Appreciate the opportunity to provide this update to you all. Had an opportunity to meet many of you at some of the town hall meetings that we conducted, and wanted to kind of circle the wagons, so to speak, and kind of give you an understanding of where we're at as it relates to community engagement, as well as kind of our next steps associated with the project. So just kind of a quick understanding of where we're at. We are at that phase where we are starting to strategically integrate a lot of information around park assessments, around community engagement, and we'll talk a little bit more about what that strategic integration means in terms of next steps. But as Marty said, we are about halfway through, more than halfway through this project, and look to continue to pick up steam as we head into the spring and summer. In terms of the overall master plan goals, we are definitely focused on a number of different ways in which we can improve experiences for your community as it relates to parks and recreation. Obviously, identification of future development efforts, improvement to existing park and rec facilities, the evaluation of amenities as well as programs, addressing in a big way water conservation strategies, in particular parks that do irrigate with potable water, incorporating as a standard going forward crime prevention through environmental design practices, and of course trying to continue to promote equity and inclusivity throughout the entire park system. A key component of this key finding phase is park assessments. These are some of the best park assessments I have seen. I've been doing this work for either on their side of the table or as a consultant for the better part of 33 years. And it is very comprehensive, from looking at shade to access to functionality, safety and condition. And just kind of some of the key themes that came out of these assessments. Just some strengths. There's definitely a strong variety of recreation amenities. In some parks, there are mature trees that in turn provide natural shade. There is a good selection and distribution of gathering spaces, which you'll see later, is a key use of the park system by residents. Overall functionality and space utilization is also strong, and there is definitely some unique character and or distinctive identities with some of the parks in the system. In terms of opportunities for improvement, there needs to be, as was just generally discussed about the park's capital improvement plan, a need to continue to reinvest in existing infrastructure. Shade is a deficiency across the city as a whole. Safety perceptions is certainly compromised by visibility issues and unhoused individuals. Access and connectivity are somewhat inconsistent, and what we mean by that is really people being able to get to parks in different ways, as well as then navigate their way through parks. And then, as mentioned earlier, asset and amenity replacement is greatly needed. In terms of community engagement, we tried to cover as many bases as we possibly can to engage the community in all walks of life, as well as doing so in a way that is geographically and demographically representative. Over 117 events were attended. Over almost close to 4,500 opportunities not opportunities, but engagements or contributions around an interactive mapping exercise. Over 1,100 community engagement or household completed surveys were done. Over 8,000 surveys were done on the master plan website. 5,500 dotocracy exercises, and over 59 different meetings in which we engage community in focused in-person conversations. Some of the general themes that came out of the town hall meetings, the events, the online survey, the community engagement component, well, again, you'll start to see some of these be very consistent between what we saw in the park assessments, what we see in this level of engagement, and what will be shared here in a bit regarding the statistically valid survey. Safety and security, developing parks that have not yet been developed, restroom cleanliness, general upkeep, introduction of more splash pads, dog parks, and pickleball courts, which of course are a part of the projected 5-year CIP, shade and access to water, and of course safe access and connections to parks. You'll see these themes start to resonate in a more data-driven way as we work our way through the statistically valid survey here. And so just a little bit about the statistically valid survey. It was conducted by ETC Institute. They are one of the nation's leaders in terms of doing statistically valid surveys, not just for parks and recreation, but for transportation, as well as public policy across the country. They do primarily work with local governments and state government to conduct these, and they do an excellent job of being very credible and valid with regards to these results. The surveys are done in a randomly selected way. And so over close to 6,000 households were randomly selected across the community to ensure demographic and geographic representation. In terms of, every council district certainly received about the same number of surveys, but they also received them in a way to ensure that we captured good demographic balance across the community. Surveys were issued in both English and Spanish, and so people had opportunities to respond in writing as well as online via that way. The goal was to complete 1,000 household surveys. We achieved that and then some. And the confidence rate simply means that if you did this survey 100 times, you would get the same results 95 out of 100 times within that plus or minus margin of error of about 2.9%. So I'm not going to go through every last question, but I will kind of break these up into themes. So the first theme kind of sets the stage for the rest of the results. Agreement with the following statements about the benefits of Parks and Recreation. What you see here is strongly agree is dark blue, agree is light blue. That red vertical line in the middle represents 50%. So in essence, your entire community as a whole is looking at agreeing with these benefits at a rate of 50% or more. More importantly, there's very, very little orange on that screen in which people are disagreeing or strongly disagreeing. So you have very strong advocacy for the benefit of Parks and Recreation. The key here is to recognize when we think about benefits, it's not just quality of life. It is economic development, it is safety, it is health, it is keeping kids out of trouble. It does have ties back to economic development and property growth. So your community recognizes that it is more than just that nomenclature or nebulous term that we use to apply to Parks and Recreation, which is typically quality of life. In terms of overall satisfaction, the numbers at the top are great in terms of comparing yourselves to a national average. However, the numbers at the bottom, when we talk about dissatisfaction and very dissatisfied, are a little bit higher than we would like. This is not to say that your community is dissatisfied with Parks and Recreation. It's just that 13% of your community is, and there is potentially some reasons as to why we see some of that as we kind of work through some of the survey results. So park visitation quality and barriers. Your parks are used at about the same rate as what we see across the country. No really red flags here. You actually do have quite a number of what we'll call frequent flyers in the sense that about 77% of your community uses your parks at least monthly, and close to 49% utilize them at least weekly. Yes, Madam Chair.
I actually have a question going back to the previous slide. Did you break that down by district or by areas of the city?
We can, that's a great question, Madam Chair, and actually we can cross-tabulate every question. And so as we present, I'm happy to work with ETC to provide cross-tabulation on any question that you may have. We would break that down by council district.
Yeah, I'd be interested in that for two reasons, social economic structure, but also in some of the outlying areas where you're still developing, there probably isn't, there's a need for a park, but you don't have it yet. So I think that would be interesting for us to look at. So if you could share that. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for the question. So as I said, you do have some frequent flyers. Only 23% of your community is visiting, of the visitors to parks, visit them less than monthly. In terms of why people use parks, and this is really important because people use parks, but I think what we have to recognize is people use parks for self-directed reasons, self-directed experiences. So things like walking for exercise, walking dogs, playing on a playground, picnicking, riding a bike. I know that seems, less formal because it's not about a program per se, or it's not about an athletic league per se. But when we think about people using parks and recreation, 75% of people that engage in parks and recreation is doing it through self-directed activity. Another 25% of the community is typically doing it through events and programs. So what this screen is kind of telling you is that you do see a lot of different potential self-directed activity uses in parks. And this is typically what we would typically see across the country as well. In terms of the physical condition of parks, again, this leans into the park assessments, the stakeholder engagement that we had, in-person conversations. 70% of the park system is viewed as excellent or good, but we certainly would love to see that excellent number up a little bit higher. And then you also see down at the bottom, fair and poor. Again, this can lean into why people have some levels of dissatisfaction that are greater than what we see at a national average. In terms of what people are prevented in terms of using parks, actually the top is nothing keeps people from using parks more often. That's strong. That's strong advocacy. It leans into the fact that you do have people that are using parks and using them frequently. But again, resonating back to what we saw earlier, they don't feel safe, and or restroom availability is a challenge. Let's face it, if you don't have restrooms in a park in which you're asking people to potentially be there for 90 minutes or more, it's certainly going to be a barrier. Yes, question.
So I'd love to see the data by district. The safety issue that's come up repeatedly here recently. We had a fellow a couple weeks ago whose kids went up in one of our playground equipment things and found 2 naked men. So sadly, we get stories like that rather frequently. I guess for the safety, I'd be curious specifically about that number per district, by district. So please provide that at the earliest convenience. The other is also interesting, so it's an excellent question by Deb, but I'm curious if that is spread out, if it's 20% across the entire city, or is it in certain areas? Marty, you should absolutely be using that with the distribution of resources too, recognizing it is possible that District 2 might have less people who think the parks aren't safe for a variety of reasons. I think the statistic provided by Parks is that there are roughly on average maybe 12 to 14 dead bodies found in our parks. So I might speculate that might turn off people, and that the people who find those dead bodies might never come back and have shown up in your survey. I'd also be curious so for what you called, I think you called them frequent flyers, or the people who go to the parks all the time, it kind of implies that they're not scared to go to the parks because they keep going back. So I'm kind of trying to ferret out how many people have had such a bad experience they won't go back, as opposed to maybe they saw a news report, they just moved here and they've decided not to go, or for whatever reasons people don't go. I'd be curious how that's spread out across the city as well. So, Madam Chair, at the end of these meetings, you usually ask for future agenda items. I'd like them to come back, and specifically about that safety issue, breaking down these statistics. I assume it's not possible to do it. You probably don't know, the people that you surveyed, do you actually know which specific parks they go to? I'm guessing people don't really spread it around. They probably go to
We did not ask. We did not ask a question very specifically about on the statistically valid survey. Through the mapping exercise, again, that is a technology-driven digital platform. We did see some pretty good distribution in terms of people providing input on parks across the system and across each council district.
So for each district, you'll have a statistically significant sample.
Through the Social Pinpoint website we do, but not specifically through the statistically valid survey, because we did not ask people on the statistically valid survey which park specifically that they used.
But I'm guessing if you live on the border of District 2 and District 3, if there's a park that's closer to your house in District 3, but you live in District 2, even if you're a District 2 resident, you wouldn't necessarily go to a District 2 park. If you're in the middle of District 2 and you've got a neighborhood park, so it's not going to be 100% spot on. Correct. But you'll at least know this person lives in District 2, how they feel about the park.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for those questions. Appreciate it.
Thank
We
you, and
will
we'll
certainly circle back on that cross tabulation.
Yeah, and we'll put it on a future agenda, maybe April, March. We're not having a meeting. Would that give you enough time?
I should be able to flip that around fairly quickly.
We'll work with you guys on that. Thank you.
In terms of kind of moving into park maintenance and how folks view park and facility maintenance, this, again, very similar to the benefits chart. This was the level of satisfaction as it relates to maintenance activities. And the only one that is below the level of 50% is restroom maintenance. That is, again, though, something that is a barrier to people using parks. In terms of what's most important, again, we want to be everything to everybody and provide high quality service for everything, but there is not an endless pot of money. And so when you look to prioritize maintenance activities in parks, these have a tendency to help lean into that. So park lighting is important, graffiti, vandalism, repair, restroom maintenance, landscape care, trash litter pickup. Those are kind of the top 5. And then even one of the top choices, even though it's number 6 down the list there, is actually dog park off-leash maintenance and care. Kind of gives you an understanding of how valuable dog parks and off-leash areas are a part of your system. In terms of program participation, quality, and barriers, you do have a little bit lower level of program participation than what we see across the country. But we also start to recognize that the program, people that do participate in your programs do view them as being either excellent or good at the rate of 86%. So this is pretty strong in terms of the quality of the programs that people of your community members that are participating in. In terms of why people don't use programs, I kind of highlighted some here that are a little bit higher than what we see at the national average. So I don't know what is offered. By far the number 1 across the country and in the city of Phoenix. Too busy, not interested, too far from my home, fees are potentially too high, program not offered, use programs offered by other agencies. That said, there is some opportunity for improvement through the lens of offering programs to the community, but at the same time, we have to also ensure that the programs that people want, that you have spaces and places that are designed to support those programs and experiences. So park and facilities do go hand in hand with program and service offerings. Speaking of which, when we get into park and amenity priorities, the interesting piece of this slide is that there is not any low priority. Your community has either high priority or medium priority as it relates to the amenities associated with park and recreation experiences. Many of them in the high priority, as you see, are tied directly to self-directed activity. What you see in the medium priority starts to become a little bit more age-specific, skill-specific, or special interest-specific. When we think about high priority, it means that your community has a high need for it, places high importance on it, but also has a high unmet need. In other words, they wish you could do more of these things yesterday. Medium priority means you have it relatively right-sized. Does not necessarily mean that it's geographically accessible, but it does mean that you are still going to have to continue to consider growth of these amenities as your population continues to grow. In terms of looking at this by all council districts, this is an example of cross-tabulation that we can do on the other questions. You will see that we've broken this up into what we would call high priority, high and medium priority. The interesting part of this is that there's a lot of consistency in terms of high priority, high and medium priority across every council district. And so that gives you just kind of that sense of what that looks like and an understanding of how we can use this information to cross-tabulate by council district. Same exercise for program and service priorities. No low priorities, high priority and medium priority. You see that community special events is pretty high and fitness and wellness programs are high, but you also have performing arts and water, fitness, and after school. So there's not any one specific type of program or any one specific age demographic that you can lean into. High priority is spread across a lot of different potential interests and or activities. Again, kind of same exercise with regards to priority rankings by council district. You can see here that the high priority and high and medium are a little bit off a little bit. You do see the top two high priority are pretty consistent across all council districts, but you do start to see, such as in council districts 4 and 5, as well as 7 and 8, some of the high priorities are a little bit different there than what you would see in, say, council districts 1 and 2. In terms of overall support, the big thing here is it's about what people are most willing to fund. The top 10 all have the word existing in it. And so the overarching message here is that your community is asking you to take care of your park and recreation system first and foremost. It's not only what they're asking for in terms of their wishes and wants, but it's also what they want you to spend the money on. So what they're most willing to fund. This is not a reflection of asking people if they want to spend more money on parks and recreation, but it's more about what they would be willing to, what they want you to spend money on. So everything, 9 out of the top 10 have the word existing in there. And so that kind of moves us, any other questions? Yes.
So, but one thing about this is these are not all, they don't all cost $10. Correct. Like building an indoor gym or even maintaining an indoor gym is dramatically more expensive than maybe something else on this list. So that comes up a lot because when we go out, Marty, you know this from experience, Cynthia certainly does, what do you want to see in this new park we're building? Usually everything gets mentioned, but then you get down to, well, if you have a bathroom is super expensive, depending on how much the piping is already done. So if you want to have a bathroom, then maybe you're only getting 1 pickleball court instead of 3 or something. Was there anything done like within a frame of reference of how much money? Like if you had $1 million, what would you do? Because that might change this fairly dramatically.
We do not do that as part of this master plan exercise. What we would lean into when you start to think about how to use this information is we want to, if you were to go to do a site-specific master plan for a park and you would engage the community, you now have some information through all of this information from a community engagement perspective of what the community has said that they desire, what they have a need for, what they find important, and what they have an unmet need for. Well, this creates a good foundational jumping off point to test that very specifically with the community in that specific park. Taking it a step further, you also are limited based on the size of the park, access to the park. So there are always some limitations that you start with in terms of what's appropriate to put into any existing park. From there, I think what you're able to do is instead of going into I would look at it and say doing the community engagement, doing the concept plans and doing the site-specific plan has to come first before you do a cost estimate associated with actually constructing the park. Because otherwise what you're doing is exactly what you're referring to, which is you're trying to hit a target before you actually talk to the community. And so I think this information, coupled with a lot of other planning principles for parks, gives you a good foundation to begin that conversation with the community and then work through the site-specific plan and to identify the cost estimate before you actually put the cost estimate out there.
I might suggest, I don't expect us to do this, we probably couldn't even do it, but Like the number one thing right on here is, fitness, wellness programs, or, sorry, I guess I'm interpreting that as a gym.
Correct.
There's no shortage of gyms as you drive around. There may be more in some part of the city than in others. I know you can get a gym membership for $10 a month. It might be more cost effective. I don't know how many people would use the gyms built by the city versus the gyms that are private businesses that are out there. Local gyms in Tempe screamed bloody murder in 1990 when ASU opened its rec center because now it's $25 a semester. I think you could opt out if you wanted to. I think they collected it if you didn't. At least that's the way I sort of remember it. But obviously now they have fewer people who are able-bodied who want to use a gym, so they weren't necessarily thrilled. But we could say, look, we're looking for alternatives here. Building a gym, that's it. That's all you're going to have in your park. If we have $1 million, it might cost more than that, actually.
Right.
I sort of know what the build-out is from people who have helped build facilities for different gyms in this city.
Correct.
It might be more like 4 or 5 million. We're not going to spend that. What if we just buy a membership? Right. And you go, we got to be creative because it's limited on money. I worry sometimes that we're luring people into this fantasy wish list, which we cannot afford.
Correct.
Sometimes it takes us years just to build a park. Going through that right now in District 2. People think it's delayed or whatever. So I understand why that would be difficult, but, and this is helpful, but I do have concerns that it puts thoughts in people's heads that simply aren't realistic with the financing available.
Correct. Understood completely. And I think one of the things that we would continue to work through is to take this information and come up with the most fiscally responsive way within the constraints that you have in order to implement something around fitness and wellness programs. That could be very, very different look than, say, somebody going in and using a treadmill. It could be that Parks and Recreation continues to work with other departments to offer things like chair yoga at senior centers. Or ensuring that we have what people sometimes would look at as a line dance class as an opportunity for fitness and wellness. And so it is incumbent upon the department to recognize that there is creativity, that continue to recognize the creativity of using existing spaces to meet some of these programmatic needs is important.
Or Madam Chair, Marty, I might suggest in the future, because I haven't gotten the sense that we do it this way, 2 pickleball courts equals a bathroom or something so that people have frame of reference going forward rather than just throwing stuff out there and then wind up being disappointed. My district office, we provide money, as you know, Marty, for parks for equipment, so I kind of know what this stuff costs, but that is probably limited to a handful of people, most of whom work in your department in the whole city. I mean, it's shockingly expensive. Putting that out there like, hey, this is what the price of a tennis court or a pickleball court has skyrocketed in the last few years, and that's assuming you can find a contractor to build it. We've gone through that too. So I might just suggest giving people on future surveys sort of a frame of reference, because I might not pick a fitness center as number one if I realize that's going to wipe out everything else. I might be happier getting my 2, 3, and 4 items. And that's a more, I would argue, fleshed out discussion than just throwing a bunch of stuff out there when I'm answering.
Correct.
So,
Understood.
For future reference, you might want to consider that.
Thank you for that feedback. In terms of how we will start to use some of this information, we will move into the direction of what we'll call level of service. So what level of service is it's a quantitative way to start to understand where there are gaps if there are gaps in your Parks and Recreation system. What I'm about to show you is just work that we did in Clark County, Nevada, which is Vegas, to give you a sense of kind of how we're going to approach access to parks, but also access to pools and recreation centers and other amenities. Just some of the considerations is what your current inventory is, what access standards look like, what population growth is going to occur, and where availability of land, and of course, as has been discussed, that kind of financial sustainability is really, really important. It's not just the capital cost, but it's also that operational cost and the fact that anything you build, none of it lasts forever. And so this is just an example from Clark County. It gives you a sense of the level of service mapping that we had identified for recreation centers, parks, and pools. I will just jump right to the chase that everything that you see in light blue are geographical areas in which the community does not have equitable access to a recreation center, a park, or a pool. What you do see, and I kind of draw to your attention to the recreation center, is some of those kind of dotted circles that are, I want to say, a little bit washed out. But those dotted circles kind of give you a sense of where a planned recreation center was kind of already on the books. What that does is it allows you to say, let's move forward with that planned recreation center in that specific geographic area because we know that that is where a gap is. So the idea that we were going to lean into here is to identify existing parks, existing recreation centers, existing pools, but also identify some amenities as well, such as dog parks, such as pickleball courts, such as splash pads, so that we can look at where those lack of accessibility it exists across not just major facilities or parks, but also specific experiences that you're trending a little bit behind in terms of being able to provide to the community. Again, we're going to look at this again then through a fiscally responsible lens and start to really understand what the costs are of closing these gaps and also what the funding resources are available to do so.
So maybe it's my LASIK-strained eyes, but on both the printed copy and the screen, I can't read the legends. Could you maybe other people can, but I guess I'd be a little surprised. So if you could print those out and maybe just drop them off at my office or something?
Yeah, we will.
And a little bigger.
Yeah, understood. We will, in our plan, we will certainly do this in 11 by 17 so that everybody can see that. Again, it's just the example of the type of mapping that we can do to show gaps in access. Clark County is a little bit more complicated because it's a county system. We had to take into consideration a lot of city inventory and also the county's inventory, hence the number of different colors. Your maps will not be nearly as busy and the legends will not be nearly as detailed.
As long as they'll be readable.
So summary and kind of next steps, as mentioned, we're going to really work through the strategic integration phase, which looks at level of service, park equity analysis. This is also an analysis of how and where money has been spent in the past. We are going to dive into operational assessments around program services, park maintenance, and park rangers to get an understanding of where there are opportunities to strategically position them in a way to better deliver on the community's, the everyday community's expressed experiences. We will then align our cost estimating capital prioritization for capital improvements with the city's next 5-year plan, as well as the 2028 bond program, and then look to provide some of these key technical findings to the public, 8 town halls, park board, council members in late spring of 2026. We will also be happy to bring back to you cross-tabulation of the statistically valid survey as requested.
Wonderful, thank you. So are there any questions or comments? Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Chair. Congratulations again, Director Whitfield, on your first presentation through subcommittee. Thank you, Mike, for this very detailed and thorough review of this data received from our community. I wanted to wait until the end to consolidate my questions just in case they may have been asked as we went along, but apologies if they were and I didn't get it. On slide, oh, they're not numbered. The one, it's slide number 5. park assessments. It has a sample slide, sample assessment for each park. I presume that was for 2 parks. I presume that was done for each park in every district.
We did a random sampling of the community to get representative parks across the system and geographically distributed across council districts. So a handful of neighborhood parks, handful of community parks, regional parks, but tried to also select those that were representative of the community as a whole. We will use the information as discussed in the CIP program in that agenda item to help fold into the park assessments since the city does a good job of evaluating those annually as well.
So you've just taught me a valuable lesson on why we shouldn't assume. I should have just asked a question. So we did not do an assessment for each park. Is it possible to receive the assessments that were completed I'm curious to see for my council district, because I believe that I do have some parks that probably will score differently. I have a very diverse district, and I want to make sure that I'm accounting for the different components of the district. So I would like to see all of the assessments that were prepared for parks within my district, District 8.
Madam Chair and Vice Mayor Hodge-Washington, if I might, and members of the subcommittee, we looked at 29 parks as part of this Parks Master Plan, but we will definitely get the information for the parks in your district.
Perfect. If it's 29, I don't mind actually seeing all of them, just a comparison standpoint. That would be helpful. Moving on, my next question, let's see, 11, slide 11. Just to confirm, the red dots reflect households that were randomly selected or the households that were responsive to the survey?
Great question. Those are where responses came from.
Okay, perfect.
And they also represent clusters. So there's not 1,100 dots on the map, but it does represent clusters of where surveys were returned from.
Perfect. And just to make sure I'm clear, my understanding is the survey responses that are shown on this slide is a little different than maybe the pinpoint survey?
Correct. Okay. This is just that very hyper-focused, statistically valid, random sampled survey, correct.
And can you tell me about how many individuals responded to the pinpoint survey?
To the, this here, so we ended up with the top to the right icon. The online website surveys was over 8,000. Okay. General surveys was 7,300. Youth survey was close to 700.
Okay. And apologies if this was also answered. Is that website still live? So, for example, I know when I looked at it when we kind of first pushed it out, we could actually see specific parks and what the community was saying about that.
I can pull up those very specific questions and send those directly to you. The online survey was basically a survey monkey behind the scenes. The interactive mapping engagement is when people were able to go in and drop a specific pin on a specific park and provide comments around what they liked, what they didn't like. And we had close to 4,500 of those responses as well.
Okay. I would also be curious to see those if it's on that level, because to me, that's neighbors saying specifically for this park, here's what I would want to see. I mean, some of this, similar to Councilman Ware in my office, sometimes we do support exactly. Resources in the park, and it'd be helpful to know what it is that the community continues to ask in those areas. So that would be helpful. Thank you. Oh, the other question related to reasons preventing households from visiting city parks or visiting them more often. One of the items was the lack of restrooms. And I know in some parks we have restrooms that, I guess the best way to say it is we don't have doors that you can physically close. And I'm wondering if that is viewed by the community as lack of restrooms? Like, do they not feel comfortable using those restrooms? And if that is the case, because let me say it a different way. Do we have any data that will show whether or not the restroom complaint is based on the available facilities or the lack of facilities as a whole?
That is a great question. It actually is something that has rattled around in my head in terms of identifying through the level of service restroom locations. One of the things that we do know is that we have to tie restroom availability to length of experience. So we're not putting in more restrooms than we need, but we're also putting in restrooms in the correct locations. So usually community parks and regional parks are where you would typically put those kind of restrooms. What we could evaluate is, number one, what the inventory of restrooms is across the system, and then number two, evaluate functional versus non-functional.
So I don't think it's a functional versus non-functional. The apparatus or the equipment in the restroom work. The restrooms in some cases lack a functioning door. So I question whether or not is it the lack of doors on the restroom that creates a scenario where people feel like I'm not going to use those restrooms, which equivalent to a lack of a restroom available to the patrons.
That is an excellent point. It seems like it's the point, or the restroom issue comes up almost every park project that we do, and it comes down to design. Part of it comes down to design from the perspective of it being functional, how it's constructed to ensure that it can't be very easily vandalized or damaged, and then doing it the right way so that people actually want to use the restroom. Then you have the other cleanliness component as well.
Okay, and that's what I'm hearing is there may be some mechanism in the survey that captures that with that level of, let me not presume. Is there something that can tell us specifically what the complaint is about the restrooms?
I would say that from this specific question on this specific survey, no. From the question, from the comments that we received through town hall meetings, as well as online, it was a combination of we want a restroom or the restroom is not functional. Or it was the restroom was not, designed well, or it just didn't feel like it was safe to use, or it was unclean. So it was a smattering of all of those potential issues that where restrooms continually came up as a point of issue or a point of, shall we say, interest of improvement by the community.
Okay. As you can clearly gather from my questions, is I do believe that is an area we need to look into further and assess whether or not, I personally think we should be uniform in our approach to the restrooms throughout all of our facilities, because then it becomes an equity issue of whether or not certain parks are being treated differently, meaning that their restrooms don't have doors versus other parks have doors. If I don't have a parent being asked to choose, will likely take their child to a park that has a restroom where there's some level of privacy, or, I think that goes to the safety concern that we clearly hear that our community is asking for. And my question also ties into the concern about the community asking us to maintain our parks and their facilities. And I'm questioning whether or not that is a part of it as well. I view that as very important. So I don't know, that's partly why I was asking about the assessments at the beginning, to learn that wasn't done for every park. I understand why not, but I want to make sure that we are holistically looking at that component. My other question was, it's a combination of slide 25 and 27. So that slide talks about, has your household participated in any recreational program activities offered by the city in the past 12 months? More than a national average said no, and on slide 27, the majority says, I don't know what is offered, or I use programming by other agencies. And my question is, did we dive into, is there any available data that will show what programs they go to by other agencies, so that we are, if we have to make an assessment of duplicating services, we can minimize that? And could we figure out how to better efficiently notify the public about the services that we are providing? Ideally, if we had this unlimited pot of money, we would make all these improvements, but if people are still not going to the parks, we are not achieving the
Correct.
desired result.
So I can tell you, for brevity's sake, we didn't obviously include every question in this, but I can tell you that 2 follow-up questions that we did provide, because we know, just looking at the national average, that the #1 reason why people don't use programs is that they don't know what is offered. So we did 2 follow-up questions. One was, how do people learn about parks and recreation programs? Okay. And then the second follow-up question then was, how would people prefer to learn? And again, that is information that can be cross-tabulated by district to allow us, to allow the Parks and Recreation Department to hyper-focus what we call target marketing. So if District 2 prefers Facebook, but if District 3 prefers a website, we have to use that information in a way to make sure that people are at least getting provided the right tools around which they can hyper-focus their research on. The question regarding used programs offered by other agencies, the reason, and I'm sorry I did skip over this as part of the presentation, the reason I put that in red is because it's only 9% of your community, whereas the national average is actually 25%. So you, in fact, do have more people using your programs than going elsewhere. The key here is we did do a follow-up question that says, who do you use? The city of Phoenix was the #1 user of what people use for parks and recreation. They did list other like HOAs or private facilities, but you were by far the #1 go-to place for programs and services for your residents.
Okay, thank you. I have a couple more. And that's why I wanted to, for example, on slide 32, maybe it's not a specific, well, maybe I'll ask the question. Another concern that I hear, our office hosts pool parties for the kids during the summer, and sometimes the pools don't have covering over them, which sometimes makes the pool very difficult to utilize. Is that a consideration on when we, I guess for me, I'm trying to figure out how many of the residents in my area said that this pool, it's fine and dandy, but I can't stay in the pool, or I can't be there all the time because it's just so hot.
Yeah.
Is there anything that would have captured that information?
In terms of the barriers, I don't know that we asked that specific question, but I can tell you that through the park assessments, as well as then the conversations that we've had with the community, that shade and access to water is a big deal. And so that needs to be something that becomes a standard in terms of improving parks across the system, as well as incorporating in part of new design. So again, not saying that the Parks and Recreation Department does not take that approach. It's just that you have 189 parks, and many of them don't have the shade that people are looking for to be able to use them, whether that be pools or whether that be just be parks in general.
Well, I'm glad, so that was part of my comment, to make sure that shade included the access to use the equipment in the parks, not just the trees that you would find, but whether or not it's the,
right,
what do you call them, the activity centers that you taught, or, youth may use, or the actual pool. shade sometimes can be the lack of shade can be a barrier at times. So I think that was let me look at my notes real quick. I did find it interesting that on slide 35, that the items that our residents are willing to fund is more so just maintenance of the parks, which tells me that they see true areas of opportunity here, and we probably should lean into that. So thank you for the very detailed, I am, as you can probably gather, very data-driven, and I found this very informative. And I too look forward to receiving the crosstabs so that I can see a little bit more. And specifically, I would like to see the pinpoint where residents reported about specific parks in the system and what we may and cannot do. So thank you so much for that.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right. Well, I think we'll see you back in a couple months. And we appreciate what you're doing, and we'll stay tuned for the next phase. Thank you.
Very welcome. Madam Chair, subcommittee members, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so we now turn to public comment, and the city attorney will explain.
Thank you, Madam Chair. During citizen comment, members of the public may address the subcommittee for up to 3 minutes on issues of interest or concern to them. The issues being addressed, however, must be on the subject matters that fall within the jurisdiction of the Phoenix City Council or the subcommittee, and upon which the subcommittee has the power to act. The Arizona Open Meeting Law permits the subcommittee members to listen to the comments, but prohibits members from discussing or acting on the matters presented.
Thank you. And we have two speakers. The first, Diane Barker.
Good morning, Transportation Subcommittee, and Deborah Stark, Chairwoman. My name's Diane Barker. I'm an advocate for the City of Phoenix, the just expansion, and I've been a user and have worked in public transit to give information. So I come in front of you today because I did look at your graphs, and the T2050 money is showing 66% for light rail. However, looking at T 2015, 52% was supposed to go for buses, and then, you know, a couple of percentages, if not up to 4 for express buses. That's a flexible, it's not a fixed system. You can build, as they've done, very well in Curitiba, Brazil, which has about the same population as the city of Phoenix and actually disposable income, a bus system that serves people. I sat 10 hours to listen to you take off a bird in the hand from the capital. 25 million you put into light rail, which is still an earmark. You guys spend money down locally to chase the MIS investment studies. That is an engineer's. By the way, you know what an engineer's dream is? When the public gets bought out. So I'm speaking up as a user. We don't have to remake the wheel and put fixed transportation. It was aghast to see the bad accident, and I still don't get the amount of money publicized that the city, for 3 days at Indian School and Central, had to fix when a man got killed about 6 weeks ago, making a left-hand turn into the light rail, went off the tracks. We had to fix the tracks, and now you want to build a light rail station because you feel sorry for Maryville. We have Indian School, we've got Camelback, we've got Thomas and McDowell and others running regularly for decades into Maryville. You do need to take money and make shaded stops to make the signage and to make it welcoming in Maryville. I go out there, and I went to the meeting for that big project of $220 million of federal money at Indian School so that we can fix it so we don't run into the BSNF. And the thing about it, I caught a bus in 2 minutes and then connected with the light rail. If we don't watch out where we're going to end up there, and that's the poorhouse.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Tim Sierakowski.
Good morning. Thank you once again. I guess my question is this: how come we don't know most of the answers to this survey already? How come I have to call and tell people at the Parks Department that, oh, there's a door missing on the bathroom here and people don't want to use it? What's going on here? I mean, is there no forms of communication? We've been complaining about maintenance for the last 13 years. You haven't done anything. We're paying someone $1 million to tell you, hey, these folks want maintenance at their parks. You haven't done anything. You haven't done anything in the last 3 years. I just stand up here and it just kind of goes in one ear and out the other because nothing's ever done. It's really pathetic. We're paid him, what, $1 million to do this survey, which is skewed, by the way, absolutely skewed, because I helped develop the Galileo survey 50 years ago, and it's skewed, but I don't even want to go into that. I could have told you all of this, and I don't have to pay $1 million to do this. You need maintenance at the parks. You need to have communication with your rangers. You need to have people telling people and doing something about it. You have a group of individuals who do nothing. They hear people's complaints at the parks, and they don't take their complaint and they move it along. That's why we have problems at the parks at the present time. It's ridiculous. This is a business. Do you guys not know how to run a business? Because in the real world, a business is run in a specific manner. So, and your clients, your customers are the people that live in your districts, and you're not doing a very good job of helping them out. You just pass along the problems, and it's not addressed. You have to. Do any of these people know that they're already being taxed twice? On being taxed twice, they're paying twice for their parks. Do they even know that? And they're still not getting something out of their park system, and they're paying extra money for it. Where's the money all going? Once again, I want to see the two accounts. I want to see the two accounts for the last 15 years. I want to see all the ins and all the outs. I want to see the balance sheet. I want to see it all. And if I have to go to court to get it, I'm going to get it. And if the money was mixed, if the money is mixed at all.
Thank you. Our next item is future agenda items. We didn't really have much on March, so we're canceling March, which is helpful because I got to go back and help my 90-year-old dad do his income taxes. So besides your addition, Jim, is there anything else? Yes.
I do have a question.
Sure.
Not sure if it needs to be a full agenda item, but in the last recent couple of, I would say, leading up to subcommittee, there had been several, I believe, increase in accidents involving vehicles on the light rail track, especially on the new extension. And I was just curious, we saw them both with drivers as well as autonomous vehicles. And I just had some general questions on whether or not that was consistent with a new line coming into play, or whether we needed to look at visibility concerns that may need to be addressed.
So maybe we could have a written report and put it on consent, and then if there's any questions, we can take it off the agenda. Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Anything else? All right, we are adjourned.
Fruits and vegetables right off the vine.
This program is so powerful for so many different reasons. We had residents saying that they shared their